Welcome to Embrace Joy, where we are walking the road to restoration. My name is Joy LaPiccolo. I am a certified life coach working with trauma survivors for over 20 years and a background in teaching. I would love to go ahead and talk to you about self compassion. So, have you ever found yourself criticizing or unable to let go of past hurts? Well, daughter of the king, you're not alone. As trauma survivors, we have all been there at some point in our lives. But fear not, because today we will be delving in to learn about the transformational power of self compassion and forgiveness. Two ingredients to nurture your soul and help you on this journey of healing from trauma. So let's begin talking about self compassion. Picture this: you're faced with a challenging situation, and instead of beating yourself up about it, you offer yourself the same kindness and understanding that you would to a dear friend. That's self compassion in action. It's about treating ourselves with the same warmth, care, and empathy that we would extend to others. Sometimes we are the worst enemy. So, how do we cultivate self compassion? Well, it starts with changing the way we talk to ourselves. Instead of dwelling on our shortcomings or mistakes, and again, failure is not final. There's a pastor that talks about that all the time. Let's practice speaking to ourselves with gentleness and encouragement. We need to remember that we are doing the best we can with what we have. That's something worth celebrating. Another part of self compassion is recognizing our common humanity. We are not perfect. We all are navigating our way through the messy things called life. So when we stumble and fall, which eventually we will, let's remember that we're not alone in our struggles. We are part of a world that is doing the best that we can to make sense of this crazy ride. God promises in Psalms 147, verse 3, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. God recognizes and it tells us to have compassion upon His promises, His victory, that we need to see ourselves as daughters of the King, worthy of treating ourselves with respect. There are days that I have to remind myself of this because people in my life have spoken words against me, belittling and betraying me. And if I listen to those words rather than the words from God, I do not have self compassion. So I encourage you to take a look at your life, the roots of why you are not being self compassion, that you're criticizing yourself. Now, forgiveness is another area we need to look at as we walk this road to restoration. Forgiveness is liberating. Holding on to grudges or resentments, it's like carrying around a heavy backpack full of rocks. Henry Cloud, who wrote the book Boundaries, uses that analogy to talk about how we need to separate ourselves that are not healthy, forgive those who are where they're at with what they have, and then treat them at a distance, put their relationship at a distance because they are not safe people. But forgiving weighs us down and drains our energy, and it can prevent us from moving forward when we hold on to that baggage. When you decide to choose to forgive not only yourself, but others, you end up lightening your load and creating space for healing to occur. When you drop that backpack, you notice there's opportunities around you for love and healing. So let me remind you though, forgiveness does not mean that you are condoning someone's hurtful actions or pretending that the pain never existed. Your trauma happened, it's real. Your feelings are real. But releasing the grip that those past hurts on us and reclaiming our power, it is saying, you may have hurt me, but I refuse to let that define my present or dictate my future. One of my mentors, Mary Morrissey, talks about the fact that the hurts in our lives may be a dark chapter, but it is not the rest of our story. Do not let the person who hurt you take the pen out of your hand and write your story. So, how do we actually forgive? It starts with a willingness to let go of resentment and start being empathetic. Try putting yourself in the other person's shoes and seeing things from their perspective. Again, this does not mean you have to excuse their behavior, but understanding where they're coming from can help soften your heart and make forgiveness feel more attainable. In my past, one of the individuals who sexually abused me as a young child, as an adult, I started looking for him as a possibility of maybe taking him to court. What I discovered was he ended up being in a mental institution. Part of it was because he had abused another person. And so he was sent to this institution. Talking to his sister, I found that from his mental problems that he had, that led him to destroying relationships around him. Now, of course, I did not tell her why I was contacting her and trying to find him, but that put into perspective who he was and why he did what he did. Again, it does not make it right what he did. It made me understand, though, what was behind it. It reminded me again that it was not my fault. So God reminds us in Colossians 3, verse 13, that we need to bear with each other, forgive one another. If any of you has a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you. There's a program called Celebrate Recovery, and it has 7 steps based on the Beatitudes in Matthew. Now, those Beatitudes, one of the things it talks about is forgiveness and peace. Step 4 has you looking at all the things that might have happened to you to go ahead and make amends And that may include forgiving those that have hurt you by distancing yourself from them and realizing you do not give them access to your life because they're not trustworthy. And then letting go of that hurt so that you can go ahead and live the life that you deserve. Now, that step 4, I have been working on since 1999. And what I do is write down every single person that may have hurt me or I have hurt them. Either reaching out to them through a call, through a letter, or just in prayer. I have worked through forgiveness for so many different people. And on that list that I have all of these names on, I document the date that I have released that person and that hurt from my life. That's something you may want to look into, is taking an inventory of your hurts, the pain, the person that hurt you, and then letting that go. Forgiveness also opens you up to being grateful. Yes, we've talked about this before. Gratitude. When we focus on the blessings in our lives, it allows us to not dwell on past hurts. It changes our perspective and open ourselves to a world of possibility. So you're removing the negative and embracing the truth, changing your perspective. I encourage you to take a moment and write down the blessings, big and small, and let gratitude pave the way for forgiveness to blossom. So use that as an exercise today to write down the names and the hurts that you recognize that you need to let go. And then also make a list of things that you are grateful for, because we need to replace the negative with the truth. So we talked about self-compassion. We talked about forgiveness. So how do we put this into action? I wrote down a couple things to help you change your mindset. Along with the list that I mentioned, start a self-compassion journal. So write down every day the things you appreciate about yourself, to offer yourself kindness. This will boost your self-esteem and create a positive self-image. So I am grateful today that I have perfect vision today. I am thankful that I have the energy to live on purpose today. So what are some things that you can appreciate about yourself? Practice self-care. Again, in previous podcasts, I know I talk about that more than once, but it is so important to make self-care a priority in your daily routine. Whether it's taking a bath, going for a walk, or simply curling up and reading a book, pausing, resting. Find activities that you love that will nourish your mind, body, and spirit. Even if you just do your nails today, that is a self-care. Meditation. You can actually set aside time each day to practice meditation, processing forgiveness. Just sitting quietly, closing your eyes, and visualize yourself extending forgiveness. Notice any sensations or emotions that arise, and allow yourself to let go of those resentments. There are several YouTube videos that help you meditate and process through some of the feelings that come up in the area of forgiveness. Seek support. So, with self compassion and forgiveness, don't be afraid to reach out for support. It does not happen overnight to change the critical behavior that you have to yourself and then also process forgiveness. So, whether it's talking to a trusted friend, joining a support group, reaching out to me as a life coach to give you guidance, remember, do not walk this journey alone. You deserve to have that support. So, this podcast was just a crash course in understanding the power of self-compassion and forgiveness. Remember, healing from within is a journey, not a destination. Be patient with yourself, daughter. Practice kindness. And remember, you are worthy of love and forgiveness. As you continue on this road to restoration, I pray that you find peace in the knowledge that you have the power to cultivate a life filled with compassion, forgiveness, and inner joy. Always remember the words of Ephesians 4:32. Be kind and compassionate, forgiving each other just as Christ forgives you. Daughter of the King, I look forward to hearing from you in the comments the practice of self-compassion and forgiveness and how that is making a difference in your life today. Learn more about one-on-one coaching by reaching out to me at joy.embracejoycoaching@gmail.com. Let's continue walking this road to restoration.